Hello everyone, today I'm going to be taking a look at another regiment for Conquest, the Last Argument of Kings by Para Bellum. Today it's the Thunder Riders for the Wadroon. Okay, so the Thunder Riders, no box because this was an early preview copy, so box wasn't built. But I can live without the box, everything else is in here. So Thunder Riders, each Thunder Rider comes on a separate sprue. The assembly instructions give you some alternative head builds, and likewise for body parts. Okay, everything is based on what I presume to be a render and built in sub-assemblies. Now, sometimes these riders are interchangeable, or parts of them are interchangeable, things like heads and arms sometimes. So if you're building multiple units or bigger units, then you have the option. However, not sure yet if that is the case. So let's take a look at our first sprue. So at least we know everything for one Thunder Rider comes on this particular sprue. This is the A sprue. Interesting componentry. So the head in 3 separate pieces. And this style of sprue design is becoming more and more common. Sometimes pieces need to be fitted together in a very exacting way. Not that it's difficult to put them together, but you'll sometimes look at a piece and think, oh, these 2 pieces just mesh like this. But in actual fact, you need to maybe rotate it 22 degrees and then put them together, and it will click perfectly. So I do always suggest dry fitting everything. You'll see here, for example, this part of the body. So we have front of a neck, lower leg, a rump, but then there's a big chunk out of the rump, and presumably then a central part fits on that to conjoin it to the other half of the body. So yes, all well labelled, which is good. So if you do happen to clip everything off and start losing parts, at least you know the large parts A are for parts A, even on the inside of the legs of the rider. Okay. Next up, B, as expected. Really nice detailing and texture on these. And again, this almost 3D jigsaw-like design to mask joins and to get things onto the sprue, because it's a very narrow sprue as far as actual production goes. There's not a lot of depth there for what are big creatures. See here on the reverse some of the detail. So a nice amount of detail, and again what looks to be a fairly simple build. A couple of head options. Our last sprue, our C, again more of the same. I do think we have 2 heads per. We certainly have up until now had a couple of heads. So we've got one over here, then 5 and 5. Yep. Or another set of heads with a more sort of a cowboy look to them. I don't know if that's deliberate or not. Sort of wide Stetson-like feel. Okay. Right, let's get them built up and we'll take a closer look at the Wadroon Thunder Riders and their rules. Alright, 3 Thunder Riders built, as you can see. The builds for all of them were fairly straightforward. I say fairly. There were a couple where The number on the build instruction reverse these 2 feet. So the actual sort of from the angle down on these, we're back to front. However, there is only one way they'll lock together. So I recommend dry fitting everything. As you can see, this one is galloping forward like a gallopy thing. They are remarkably big models, but then they are heavy cavalry for the Woodrune, so you know there is that. This is almost 110 mil long from tip of its little horn to the tip of its tippy top tail, and to the top of the rider's head, or thereabouts, is around 75 millimeters, maybe about 76 with that headdress. So I mean, they're big, hefty beasts of figures. Really nice detail on them. Again, follows that tribal look that the Woodrune have, mix of sort of Mesoamerica meets Africa. There's a lot of woven and wicker sort of, I suppose, accoutrement. The saddle that it's on looks like it's been woven together, and then there's a mixture of sort of furs and bones and ropes to give a very eclectic tribal feel to it without being too distinctly taken from one nation or race. So that's our first. They are in game absolutely brutal. So I said they're heavy cavalry. They have both impact 4, so bonus hits when they go in, and brutal impact. So those impact hits reduce your opponent's defense by 2, which is fairly stonking. On top of that, after dealing out 5 attacks in the clash per Thunder Rider, they get to follow that up with an additional 2 trample attacks as well. So yeah, they're a fascinating unit. And will do an awful lot of damage when thrown in, maybe alongside something like the Tontor. Get the Tontor to hold something in place, because it has a boatload of attacks as well, and then follow up into a flank with the Thunder Riders. They will remove things in short order. I like the fact that while all the giant dinos are similar, they're not 3 of a kind. So this one you can see is more of that sort of brute ram going on. And our final rider is more of a, that would be a Triceratops, I suppose. There are alternative arms and alternative heads on the sprue, only for the weapon arms, but it does mean that you have variation. So you can put together, I think there's 4 additional heads left on that sprue. And then there's 1 additional arm for each build, so 3 spare arms. Now, the arms are located in such a way that they will only fit on a specific body, which means if you want to swap those arms around further to get more diversity in your build, then you're probably going to have to do some actual conversion work to it to get them to fit. However, because the option's there, it's nice to have. Again, some really nice detail, and the jigsaw-like way it builds masks a lot of the glue joints, even in unusual places like where this head comes down. So it comes round behind a horn, front of the nose, alongside this front horn here and then cuts back the way, so the beak is actually all on one piece. And then the two halves of the snout, I suppose, go together to make that part of the head. So it's very well done, and when there's a primer on that, a lot of these very subtle sections should be masked very, very easily. So there we have it, the Thunder Riders for the Wadroon. So there we go, 3 terrific miniatures. Obviously we've already seen the Raptor Riders, so light/medium cav, very nimble, very quick. These are the exact opposite in every way. Lord, they barely fill those bases, and those are big, big bases. And game-wise, the combination of the hard hit, a big clash, and impact hits means they're both the hammer and the anvil in one tidy package. Let's put it like that. Nice looking kit to put together. Not 100% sold on the big wide brimmed hats. They're a bit too cowboy-like for me, which is why I didn't use them. I prefer the more tribal look to the Wadroon. But the option there to flip them in and out, it's always handy to have. But let me know what you think of the Thunder Riders below, and whether or not orcs mounted on dinos is the way to go. I think we can all agree it probably is. Until next time, bye-bye.
Go ahead and check out our other content on screen now. And while you're at it, why not hit subscribe and remember to ding our dong. Go on, you know you want to click it. Go on.